One of our first cases we're going to see here today, it's very exciting. Children's Welfare is a helpline that helps a lot of troubled children every year. Over the past 2 years, NTT Data has been working with this NGO to make the service more efficient and effective with AI, and also a bit of an innovative mindset, of course. So with us in this session, we have Charlotte Smerup from Børns, Vilkår, and we have Rasmus Ørtoft from NTT Data, and also Prison Wilfred from NTT Data. They're going to talk about the AI solution that has helped create this service and make it even better for vulnerable children in Denmark. So welcome on stage to the team. Where are they coming from? Oh, here you go. Come in.
Du kan se mig, Charlotte.
On a train, out of town, driving over swinging bridges, rotten boards are giving in.
Hello.
Hey, thank you so much for being here. We're going to talk about ethical AI in the context of Børns Vilkår. Yeah?
Yeah.
But Charlotte, we need to put on your PC.
Yeah, I'll do that in a minute.
Okay, you'll do that.
Yeah. My name is Charlotte, and I work at the Danish Helpline, which is where children can call in about all kinds of trouble they have, from violence to abuse to bullying at school or what they're struggling with. I work with training the volunteers and with developing different kinds of platforms that make it easier for them to help more children. We have at the moment about 500 volunteers. They are all trained, they're all educated in talking to children and working with children. But we need to at least double the amount of counselors to be able to answer all the calls. Last year we had more than 100,000 unanswered calls to the helpline. So we need to really expand a lot. And to do that, we need technology to help us. We'll show you something in a minute. But first, I want to tell you a little bit more about the volunteers. These 500 different kinds of different people, very exciting to work with them. They are there in their spare time, and they spend 8 hours of their spare time every month to help the children. For example, we have Margaret. She's 73, and she's a retired social worker. And she's been a volunteer for 11 years, and she's just so good at talking to children. She can do stuff. She can do magic in conversation. She can create this intimate space with the child in a conversation that makes them confide in her and tell her what they don't want to tell anyone else. But sometimes she struggles. For example, for three years ago, there was a big case in Denmark called the Umbrella case. I don't know if anyone of you know, but it was more than 1,000 young people and kids in Denmark were charged for sharing a sexual video of a minor. And we had so many calls about that in the Danish Helpline. And Margaret had really found it difficult to help these children, like understanding the phenomenon and helping them report and understanding the legal things. And also there's Julie. She's 25 and she's studying to be a teacher, and she's really good at communicating with children. She types really fast. She knows all the social media and the trouble they meet there, the kids. But when it comes to more personal things or more severe things like self-harm or suicide thoughts, she feels very insecure and she needs a lot of support from the staff. And both of these counselors will get a lot of help from the tool that you guys made, which will also help us when we are going to expand the helpline as much as we hope to, to make the counselors feel supported and get help, even though that we're getting so many more counselors. So yeah, and we'll show you.
I will show you just in a minute.
While, yeah.
So what we did, we built an AI that can understand the problems of children. The AI listens in on conversations between the counselor and the child and looks up guidance material and advice during the conversation. The AI is modeled by using ethical principles with counterfactual fairness. Prayson will get into that later. What we did not do, we didn't create an AI that can talk to children. A lot of people misunderstand it when we talk about the case. There's no AI talking to children. The AI is assisting the counselor during the conversation. And we don't store personal information nor conversational data with the child either. We only store the mathematical representation of the AI in order for it to continue learning with when we train it. Okay? Why we did it? This kind of the problem here that Børns Vilkår are losing a lot of conversation, don't have enough people to do them or to help children all the time at least. And user research shows that that the most important thing is for a child to talk to a warm, empathic adult. So we definitely did not want to rock that boat. Didn't want to disturb this situation, the conversation with the child. And we had a lot of talk, how can AI and technology help with that situation? And we came up with this concept. The goal is to free up time for the counselor so that they can make or manage even more conversations and focus even more on the child, and not searching through all types of SharePoint systems to locate information relevant to the topic they are talking about. Also, this kind of raising the confidence of counselors when a child is struggling with something that they don't know much about. One of the cases that we have run across is this kind of the self-harm. A lot of counselors will be very scared of handling or talking to a child that is considering self-harm. But you guys have a lot of experience with that, of course, and typically you said to me at one point that talking about self-harm is not the same as considering suicide. It's completely different. Yeah. Another less harmful case is Fortnite. So someone of the counselors wouldn't know what Fortnite is, or my kid is very into Valorant. So I don't know if that has come up in any conversations now. But so upcoming topic, how to spot them, how to put them into our counseling system. This is one of the goals of what we're trying to do. Yeah. Then we're going to show it.
So let's just show you the system. We're not inviting any children into the system today. Asmus will be the child, but the examples that we are showing you are actually examples from real conversations from children. So I'm just waiting to see if a child gets in the queue, and I'll open it.
Sorry. My machine missed the internet connection. Sorry about that. Two seconds.
So this is the system that the counselors are using to do chatting and text messaging with the children. So we built this into the system that they're already using and already know, so they don't have to learn how to use a totally new technology, but it's just built into what they're used to.
Here we go.
Here we go. So I'll just answer the call, and here is just the beginning of a conversation. And I'll just, it's in Danish because this AI just only understands Danish, so I'll just translate it. It's because I have to talk to my teacher tomorrow because I'm being bullied by someone in my class, and it's just really difficult for me because they're bullying me for something that I'm really sad about and don't like to talk about. And I can open the assistant here, and the assistant has, just based on this first message that the child has sent, it's guessing that this is about bullying, and maybe it's something related to disease, illness, something about that. It doesn't know much yet. We won't look at what the counselor says. We just have another message from the child. Usually the counselor will say something to the child. Okay, so he says, well, I will try to rehearse, but I can explain it to you first, if I can. Let's have another. And she says, it's because they're bullying me with something with my body, and I'm really sad about it. And now the AI knows from 3 messages, it can tell that it's still about bullying as a main topic, but now it has concerns about the body, like body development, and it also has body ideal as a topic. And this way we can show the counselor a set of guidance to how to handle conversations about a topic like bullying. And if they needed some place to refer the child, there are referrals, and there are also something text that they should know about rights. But everything is very short and brief, because it's not supposed to disturb the counselor like it would if they had to read a lot of pages of material, background material. Should we have another example? Do you have time for that? Okay, I'll just see if there's another child in the queue with another topic. So we're quite impressed with how good it is at guessing what the topic is about already at this stage. It's not live yet, so it's still not running. Okay, this is another child saying, my mom is scaring me and my brother. She's yelling at us, and she attacked us quickly, like she wanted to hit us. She says we're not allowed to sleep or have any dinner until we've done our homework. The worst part is that I've trouble with my homework, and I wanted to ask her, but I'm afraid to ask her, and she's the only one at home today. And the assistant from this first message already knows that this is a case about violence, and then it's not really sure about what it could be more. And again, we have these advice to the counselor that is written by my colleagues and the staff at the helpline. And if you just send one more message, yes. We're not being punished, it says, but she yells, and we're afraid to be near her when she's in that mood. And now it also suggests it could be something about parents drinking too much. So already it has a lot of information that the counselor might need to know to be able to have a good conversation with this child. So yeah, that was the examples, and now you're going to see some real cool stuff. And what's going on behind?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
We're welcoming to the lab. Yeah, so we are in the middle of the rollout. So 25 counselors working with the system right now. Get a lot of different feedbacks here. Someone feeling a bit supervised. Someone is loving that they don't have to spend a lot of time searching their own the SharePoint system. This has, of course, been one of our main considerations when we have designed this system. And this has been a very cool experience for us to work together with Prayson and Børns Vilkår in order to kind of try to work with this AI in the design context as well. And we actually learned a lot from this. We made our own model. It's a combination of design thinking and this AI ML life cycle. And the most important thing about this is kind of when we move through the steps of design thinking and AI life cycle, we actually do a lot of switching back and forth. For instance, Prayson noticed that the AI can sense if a child becomes frustrated. If a child has just mentioned that his parents are sleeping, and if the counselor says that, why don't you go talk to your parents, they will feel pretty annoyed about that. So one idea would be to include a kind of a red light in the tool at some point, that we can see that you are not paying enough attention, that the child is getting frustrated, something like that. So this idea would never have come if Prayson wouldn't have been involved with the AI part. And then we have this kind of how to show confidence score. This is kind of difficult. Maybe you noticed the percentages in the solution. So 74% eating disorder is the first one. What does that mean? Yeah, a lot of the counselor, we got a lot of feedback on that one. So we are trying to move it, but we kind of like this kind of, we do want the counselor to know how confident is the AI. So we haven't cracked this one yet, but we are going to work on this, on how to do this. Okay? Prayson will take over the rest of the show and talk to you about all the hardcore AI stuff.
Yes, awesome. So the fun stuff, the code. Yeah, so this has been one of the most exciting project I ever participated, because it had a human aspect to it. So it had the soul. So building the whole thing required us to give everything. So there was no shortcuts. So when we had to build like what kind of stopwords are there, or what kind of things we need to take consideration, we wanted to therefore a machine to be doing its work, but also there should always be a human watching over. So no step was left completely unsupervised. Okay, so I will just rapidly go through the thought through this. First, as a data scientist, we usually start in the environment like Jupyter Lab, right? Where we get to explore the data, we get to get the feeling of what is going on. So this helps us discover some of the things, know what steps needs to be taken to build a model. But it was also here where we had to learn, where we to put this model into production. What is it that we need to take into consideration? One, we needed to make sure that we are GDPR compliant. And two, that everything that we build, our model, are actually ethical. So we didn't just want to have model interpretability, which is good. We wanted to go beyond that into something called ethical models. In this case, I will go to here and try to show you what they are. Okay, so this, let's go back here. This is the world of data scientists starting out, figuring out what needs to be taken into consideration, dancing with data, as we usually do. And so the basic idea here was to build a model that could understand children's data. So we wanted to understand their language as it is. We didn't want to augment it, autocorrect it, or anything. So in this case, we could not just pick out of the shelf a complete trained model, because that has been trained on Wikipedia or Danish news, then it will not catch the children's way of speaking. So in this case, we had to build our own model based on a specific number of data that we receive. So going forward, I'm going to roll and roll. So by building a model, we started getting a model that could tell us, okay, when children talks about something like bulimia, what other things are surrounding it. And something like this, what we are trying to do is just transforming words, like with our unprotected sex, and see which kind of sphere in the children language does it take. But we roll more. So this is really awesome. So I've hidden some of those things and unhid others, because we discover also there's a different way when boys talk about suicide and when girls talk about suicide. And what will this mean in the future model? Because according to the recommendation was that they wanted both girls and girls and boys to get similar predictions. So we needed to know, okay, even though they speak different language, we need to give them the same score. This comes into the ethical part. But this was just to show you what was there in the language model and what it takes to build a model that is fair. Okay, so we move towards the outside world, because after you have done your experiment, you build another world of a software. And this is a place where you will do a lot of tests. So yes, this is a live demo, so let's just give it a go. So I'm just going to run some tests here. Okay. That was not very interesting, was it? So let's just do that. Then I'll say, oh, okay, so sorry, it's just me who is not clever enough. It was supposed to be PyTest the boss. Okay, so as I run this, the test will kick in, and one after another will start running. So when they're running, first thing, when you join our project, you have to pledge your allegiance into following the ethical guidelines. Like if you're going to commit your code into our repository, you will say, we're going to follow certain kind of guidelines. Which guidelines are they? They are all the guidelines that will make sure that you cannot put your model, if your model is predicting, giving different prediction to girls and boys, or different gender, or different ethnicity. So everyone needs to be scored the same. So as you can see there, test of fairness, when it's age, when it's gender, when it's religion, we make sure that all the kids are receiving similar scores, right? Because this was what it takes to create an ethical model. During the demo session where you can come up here, we will invite you to test it, give us a different combination of sentences, which we can plug in, and you will get to see whether our models are ethical or not. But so far, we have shown that we can build models that are not only good, but also ethical, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I have just one quick question. I think I might just address it to you, because what you're doing here is you're trying to avoid bias in the code, right? You're trying to make sure that there's not a situation or gender or religion or something that affects and makes the recommendation skewed. How important, and I can ask all of you, how important is it to work on bias and really have this sort of ethical approach to your design? Was it you that have had a lot of focus on this practically when you've been sitting with the code?
Yes. So yeah, because we as data scientists are in big, deep waters, because we have been focusing on the wrong things. We've been focusing on building good models, accurate models, and we have not focused on the actual problem, which is the ethical and the fairness of the model. So we at the Transformation Lab, we have switched the game around. So we focus first on fairness, then the accuracy. So when we deploy our models that does not pass the fairness test, they are automatically rejected. This is because we want to make sure that children, no matter which background they come, religion, age, whatever, they get the same result. So it's for the future of data science, but it's also for building a better future.
I think that's a perfect way to stop your session here. Thank you very much. Give the team from Børns Vilkår a very big hand. Children's welfare, ethical AI, assisting AI. Thank you very much. Thank you.